So hello viewers and welcome back to another video on networking. So in last video we had a session about DNS basic simulation and like DNS protocol simulation inside CPT. Now in today's video what we are going to do is we are going to extend this topology and we are going to introduce more networks, and we'll see how it works when we have more networks in the same topology and how the DNS will work in that case. So let's start today's video without wasting much time. So for the first example, this was our topology where we have already covered the video on how this topology works. So this is basically DNS server, this is basically a web server, and these are two end devices and they all are in the same network. Now for the first change, we will introduce DHCP server. So now for that we can actually configure a DHCP service on either of this server, because a server can run multiple services like HTTP, DHCP, DHCP v6, DNS, TFTP, AAA, and all of these things. But for the simplicity, we'll just take another server. And now, okay, so let me just, what is the IP address of this? 120.100. So I will just take a note and put it over here, 192.168.10.200, and this is our web server, right? And now I will put another link, another text over here, 192.168.10.300. 300 is not a thing. 254, which is DHCP server. Okay, so we'll put this link over here and we'll connect this server with the switch. And now we can just open the configuration panel for this server. We can go inside fast Ethernet 0 interface and we can give the IP address 192.168.10.254, right? And now we can go under the services and we can configure DHCP service. We can just turn this service on. Server pool. So for the server pool, start IP should be 10.1, right? Not 1, because one we will assign it to what you can say our default gateway. So we'll start with the 2. Default mask, subnet mask will be /24. Maximum number of users, let's hit 50. TFTP server WLC DNS default gateway 192.168.10.1, and the DNS server will be 192.168.10.100. so which is this DNS server IP address configured over here. Now what we can do is yeah, that's actually it for the configuration. We can just hit save, and as you can see we have this server pool, default server pool, so which is for that the start IP is 10.2, default gateway is 10.1, DNS server is 10.100, maximum users are 50. So that's it. And now we can just test our DHCP server by putting a host in the same network again. Yeah, that's it. And now with this config we can just assign the DHCP, and we'll see if the configurations are shown over here. We can actually fast forward this and we can see, okay, so as you can see default gateway is 10.1, fast Ethernet 0 IP address is 10.4, because 2 and 3 are already assigned to this 2 machines. Now these 2 machines don't have default gateways. Fast Ethernet 0, physical config, yeah, so we can just manually assign 10.1 here, and here also under the config section 192.168.10.1, and we can just check the DNS configuration whether we got it correctly. So as you can see DNS is 10.100. We can verify the DNS server again by by opening the web browser and typing here hanil.com. So as you can see, we got the website, and you can see Anil Packet Tracer is visible. We can also write cisco.com. As you can see, we got the Cisco Packet Tracer, so that means both of the web servers are working. DNS server is working, and DHCP server is also working. Now our second task would be to add another network and see how that works. So for that, we will add a router over here. So we can take 1841 router. We can take another switch, probably 295.0.24, and now we can quickly connect these devices by this and this. Now for the IP configuration, this will be 192.168.10.1/24, and this time we will change 192.168.20.1/24, right? Now I will just go through this router and assign this IP addresses to these interfaces, and we'll see what happens. So both the interfaces are working fine. Now for the verification of this router, we can just add a host over here, right? And now we can just assign, right now we will assign everything manually for the sake of simplicity. So 192.168.20.1 is the gateway. DNS server is 192.168.10.100. Now for the fast Ethernet, we will assign the IP address as 192.168.20.2. subnet mask is this, and now we can just check if we are able to ping from desktop command prompt. We can just write here, I'll just do this, and then write ping 192.168.20.2. so we'll wait for this ping to get response, and as you can see, the ping response is successful. That means this router configuration is successful. We are able to reach from this network to this network. Now we somehow need to make all of these services accessible to this node, and for that what we need to do is we need to tell the DHCP that, so we'll go open this DHCP server and we'll add one more pool. So let's say network 20. So default gateway would be 20.0, DNS server will be same, start IP would be 20.2, maximum 50, and that's it. We can add this. So now we have this network in the DHCP server, but somehow we need to let this router know that if there are any DHCP request packets are coming over here, then they should be redirected to 10.254. So for that, we can go under CLI, we can go under interfaced FA1/0/1. So that is the interface, this FA1/0. Now over here we can use this command IP helper address 192.168.10.254, and that's it. Now we can onboard any of the devices. So what we can do, we can do a random node connection with this, and now we can open this node, we can go under config, and we can let the DNS run. We can fast forward this, and let's see. Okay, we did not got any response. Okay, so the issue was the DHCP server that was here, that was we didn't configure the default gateway, so that's why the packets were dropped. So the default gateway should be 192.168.10.1. Now that should complete our entire network. Now whenever we onboard any of the devices here in the remote network, as you can see, we enable the DHCP and we got the responses. So default gateway is 20.1, which is this one, default gateway. DNS server is 10.100, which is this DNS server. Then the IP address is 20.24. So that's how it works. And if we now go under the desktop web browser, and here we can write hanil.com. We can just fast forward that, and now if we open, so the problem here is we have not configured again the default gateway for this server, for the DNS server. So for that also we should configure default gateway as 10.1. Now I think over here also we should configure 10.1. Now I think if we go here onto the web browser and if we write hanil.com, we go under real time, we fast forward a little bit, and as you can see we now see Hanil Packet Tracer. And now if you write cisco.com, we see Cisco Packet Tracer. So again we can see that whenever we onboard a new device, we can connect those things dynamically. We can go over here under the configuration section, we can turn on the DHCP, and as you can see we got the IP addresses and DNS and everything here. And now we can just go open here, we can just go to web browser and we can write hanil.com, which should give us the websites. So that's how everything works: DHCP, DNS and web servers. So I hope you have got the idea about how you can configure DNS, DHCP and web server into the network. We have seen the example of single network and we have seen the example of multiple networks and how to set those things up. So that's it for today's video. We'll meet in the next one. Till then, keep learning and keep exploring.